Verphy Kudi left her 20-month-old daughter home alone on December 5 to travel cross-country on a 6-day birthday trip. While she was partying, her daughter was starving to death and suffering from dehydration, and nobody was aware of it. She returned home on December 11 after not having a care in the world to find her daughter dead. Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. Verphy spent her childhood in and around Brighton, although she had no contact with her parents and lived in housing provided by social services. Her mother said that Verphy had gotten more challenging as the years passed, and by the time she was 14 years old, she had quit attending school entirely. Verphy was given refuge in a safe home in Norfolk. Nevertheless, it soon became clear that the adolescent had joined a network that engaged in the sexual exploitation of minors. Therefore, Verphy got pregnant and relocated back to Brighton. Verphy's daughter, Asaya, was born on the 22nd of March in 2018, and shortly after, Verphy and her daughter Asaya were enrolled in a child protection program that was maintained by the community's social services. In the end, they were relocated into council accommodation in the Hanover neighborhood of Brighton, which is where families in difficult circumstances are housed. A huge property that had been divided into apartments served as the residence for 8 young parents and their kids. The YMCA Downslink was in charge of the complex. This is a charity that works to prevent youth homelessness. They provide accommodation to more than 750 young people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. The fact that the units were not subject to inspections and the residents were responsible for their own upkeep enabled the young people to maintain control over themselves. However, since the charity only provided a minimal amount of help and chose not to implement the child protection service, Verphy was able to come and go whenever she liked, which meant that she often abandoned her daughter for extended periods of time, hours or even days. Asaya was left alone for 7 hours on the 23rd of October when Verphy attended a birthday party in the city. This incident occurred in the months preceding up to Asaya's death. She was abandoned on 4 separate occasions in November, the longest of which lasted for 2 days, 5 hours, and 50 minutes. The security camera footage would ultimately show that this occurred a total of 6 times. Asaya stopped crying, according to the prosecution's theory, since she realized there was no purpose in doing so because no one came to aid her. Therefore, the young girl was forced to suffer in quiet as she went hungry and wasn't cleaned. At 5:39 p.m. on December 5, 2019, Verphy shut the door to her apartment in Brighton and boarded a train to London, where she met her boyfriend and several of her friends. She informed them that her mother was caring for Asaya and that she was feeling bad and missing her baby since she wasn't accustomed to being without her. The following few days were spent celebrating her birthday and catching up with friends in the nation's capital. She went to the Juice 90s performance at Elephant and Castle, where the DJ wished her a happy birthday and sang happy birthday to her. Following that, Verphy and her boyfriend made their way to Coventry in order to attend the birthday party of one of their mutual friends there. Verphy allegedly informed her mother through text message on the 9th of December that she had exhausted all of her financial resources and was unable to purchase food for her infant child. "I'm in need of a food shop for the house and even £5 gas to top up as it's about to run out. I get paid on Wednesday, is there any chance of you helping me out, and whatever you borrow me, I will pay you exactly back Wednesday first thing." It is unknown if the money was received. Nonetheless, the communications indicate that her mother was unaware that her granddaughter was left alone at the apartment in Brighton. It had been planned that Verphy's mother would visit her daughter a few days earlier, but Verphy had called her and informed her that both she and her daughter were sick, so the visit was cancelled. She had the impression that they were recovering from an illness at home. The following day, Verphy traveled all the way back to London, where she remained the night at the residence of a friend. It wasn't until the 11th of December before she finally made the trip home to Brighton. On the way, she stopped at a local grocery store and returned to the city at around 3:30 in the afternoon. Verphy's Twitter account showed that she was focused on selling concert tickets on her way back home. When Verphy arrived home, she discovered her daughter lifeless. After that, it took Verphy 3 hours to contact an ambulance for her daughter, who had already passed away. When the emergency medical personnel came to assist infant Asaya, Verphy reported to them that her daughter had spent the whole day napping and that she had already given her medication and milk before they arrived. Sadly, rigor mortis had already started to set in by the time Asaya was transported to the emergency room, where it was determined that she had passed away. The results of the autopsy revealed that the little girl had been severely malnourished and dehydrated, leading to the conclusion that she had been neglected before her death. At the Lewis Crown Court in East Sussex, Verphy Kudi entered her guilty plea for the manslaughter of her daughter Asaya Kudi, who had been 20 months old at the time of her death. The evidence presented during her sentence made it quite evident that Asaya was often abandoned. Asaya had been left alone for 5 days, 21 hours, and 58 minutes when she passed away, according to the timestamps from the security cameras located in the apartment building where she lived. Before phoning for help, the cameras saw Verphy bringing the garbage from her unit to the common dumpsters outside of the building. Text exchanges revealed that Verphy intended to abandon her daughter to go out partying, and it was obvious that no one else was aware of her plans to leave her daughter alone without supervision for a week. Verphy was told by the judge, Christine Lang QC, it is almost unbearable to contemplate her suffering in the final days of her life, suffering that she endured so that you could celebrate your birthday and the birthdays of your friends as a carefree teenager. It's unlikely that Asaya would have cried for any length of time because she had already learned that on many occasions there was unlikely to be a response, Lang said. A representative from the YMCA said that their organization could only provide assistance for a maximum of 2 hours per week. It is unlikely that it is aware of the day-to-day activities that involve the mother and the daughter the majority of the time. Verphy was found guilty on the 6th of August 2021 and given a sentence of 9 years in jail. However, it is believed that she will only spend 2/3 of that term before being released on probation. After the sentence was handed down, the Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Children Partnership issued a statement in which they said, "We are currently working with our partners to look into what happened and are conducting a child safeguarding practice review." Verphy Kudi had a less than ideal beginning to her existence, and as a result, she went through more than she should have at such a tender age. Nevertheless, she displayed an unbelievable level of recklessness when she abandoned her daughter and left her to die of starvation. I'm sure this beautiful baby girl was terrified, wondering why she was all alone and desperately searching for someone or something to comfort her. Even though the young Verphy will have to do time, her sentence is quite short and she will likely be out of jail in her 20s. The tale of Verphy and Asaya Kudi is simply another example of how neglect may lead to very negative outcomes in the absence of self-motivation and assistance from family and government. What happened to 20-month-old Asaya is truly sad. The one person that she relied on to meet her basic needs abandoned her and left her to fend for herself. My condolences to all of those who loved Asaya. This should have never happened to her. She should have been protected. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.